Okay, good afternoon. Hi all, this is Vihari and welcome to the course of discrete mathematics structures. So, this is the first lecture and I'm going to focus on the introduction part of the discrete mathematic structures. Okay, in the name itself, sir, am I audible to you, everyone? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Am I audible
Yes,
to
sir.
you? Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I'm going to continue this. Okay. Discrete mathematics structure. So in the name itself, there is a wording that is a mathematical subject. Okay. So in this mathematical subject, you're going to face a number of problems. You're going to do a number of problems. Okay. Not in a problematic way. You're going to learn this in a logical way. You're going to learn this in an algorithmic way. Like you're going to implement every problem in your mathematics in logical way. For example, and one thing, so this is a course, is a foundation course for computer science. Why? Because every problem you have learned that should be written on the logical way, algorithmic way. Okay, for example, I'm going to tell you, if you're going to take a 2 plus 3 is equal to 5, in mathematical, you're going to learn 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. Can you implement this 2 plus 3 is equal to 5 directly on any computer application? No, it is not possible. So you need to write a logic for that. You need to write a logic or you are going to implement an algorithm for it. Okay, like how? So you're going to take one integer to store the first value and you're going to take a next step, you're going to take a second integer to store the second value, and after that you're going to perform the addition operation, that is a plus b, and you're going to store the result in a third integer. Okay, so this is the way the mathematical problem what we are doing in the book. Okay, it is not enough for the computer applications. You need to write it in a logical way to implement in the computer applications. I'm going to tell you another example for this. For example, I think you already done Armstrong number. Okay, Armstrong number. How we are going to tell a number is an Armstrong number? So you're going to take a 153 is an Armstrong number. So 153. So you're going to separate the values. Okay. So 1 cube plus 5 cube plus 3 cube. Okay. You're going to store the 1 cube value plus 5 cube value plus 3 cube value. Then you're going to add all these three and you're going to get the result as a 153. Then only you're going to tell the 153 as an Armstrong number. Am I right? So in mathematics, you're going to do this. Okay, 1 cube plus 5 cube plus 3 cube. In a computer application, you need to write one logic there. Right? Like you're going to use okay, division. 153 is divisible with 10. Okay, 150 will be divisible with 10. Then the remainder will be 3. Okay, remainder will be 3. That is, you're going to separate the 100 position. 3 came out. Now you're going to cube it. And you're going to take you're going to take a 15. So 15 will be divisible with, so let me show you.
ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಕೂತೀನಿ నేను ఆడ వెళ్ళి ಮಾಡ್ಕೊ నేను ఏదేనమ్మా నేను వెళ్ళలేనమ్మా నేను ఏమైనా వెళ్ళి
Okay,
Number
you're going to
44.
take a 153 is an Armstrong number. So in mathematics, you're going to perform 1 cube plus 5 cube plus 3 cube. By adding all this, you're going to get 153. Then only you're going to tell 153 is an Armstrong number. So this will be implemented in mathematics, but logically you're not going to write all this. So logically what you're going to do is you're going to divide 153 with 10. Okay, so 15s you're going to get 150. Then the remainder will be 3. So you got 3 separated. Now you're going to cube it, and again you're going to perform 15 divisible with 10. Okay, what will be the once 10, and you will get the 5. 10th position, you got the 10th position. 10th position you're going to cube it. Okay, 5 cube, and you're going to add both of this, 3 cube plus 5 cube. Again you're going to perform 1 is divisible with 10, 10 zeros 0, the remainder will be 1. You're going to perform 1 cube. Okay, so what I'm saying is what you're going to implement in the mathematics will not be implemented directly in the computer applications. You need to write a separate logic for this. Okay, so this kind of logics we are going to implement in the discrete mathematic structures. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a few problems that we are going to discuss in mathematical structures. Okay, so the mathematical discrete mathematics structures, you're going to learn related problems. Okay, you're going to learn the logics for that. Like, so you all know the GCDs, am I right? GCD, the greatest common divisor among two numbers. Okay, so two numbers, for example, you're going to take the greatest common divisor among two numbers, that is 30 and 250. What you're going to do, first of all, you're going to identify the factors of 30. Okay, factors of 30, that is 2 into 3 into 5. And next you're going to identify the factors of 250, that is 2 into 5 into 5 into 5. And then you're going to mark the common values. And the greatest common divisor among 30 and 250 is 2 into 5. Okay, that is 10. The greatest common divisor among 30 and 250 is 10. So the same way, will you identify the greatest common divisor among 4, 2, 8? Just a minute. Will you identify the greatest common divisor among 4, 2, 8, 2, 3 and 6409? So you need to identify the factors of 42823 and you need to identify the factors of 6409. Then you're going to identify the common values in both of this and then you're going to multiply. Am I right? Is it an easy task? No, it is not an easy task to implement. So for this kind of a problems, we have a logics. There is an algorithm. There is an algorithm for this kind of a problems to identify the greatest common divisor among the largest numbers. Okay, this kind of a mathematical problems we are going to see. And I'm going to tell you another one, that is prime numbers. Consider the prime numbers. You're going to tell 1 to 100 prime numbers. Okay, so after that 100, can you tell it? And after 1000, can you tell? If I'm going to give you one prime number, if I'm going to give you one number, that is 113, is it a prime number? Can you tell directly within a second? No, we can't define whether 113 is a prime number or not. Okay, and the same way, so 113 is a prime number, but for this, identifying whether a given number is a prime number or not, we are going to learn one algorithm. Okay, in discrete mathematics structures, you're going to learn this kind of problems and the proofs and logics for that problems. Okay, this kind of problems, we have this kind of many problems we are going to have. Okay, so we have the same way, you have 287. Can you tell whether this 287 is a prime number or not? So you're going to write and you're going to perform some operation to identify whether the 287 is a prime number or not. Okay, with a simple logic, I'm going to tell 287 is not a prime number, it's a composite number. Not only these numbers like 1011 is a prime number or not. Okay, so by considering the last digit, we are not going to tell it is a prime number. Okay, 1011 is a composite number. So this kind of problems we are going to see. Just we are going to write the algorithms, logics. We are going to write the logics for this. And these logics will be implemented in a computer applications. Okay, I'm going to tell you another thing, another one that should be included in discrete mathematics structures. The hardest problems. Okay, the what kind of a hardest problems you're going to face in this discrete mathematics structures, and with a simple logics you're going to perform it very easily. Like I'm going to tell you that if you're going to take a okay, I'm going to give you 3 to the power 201 is divisible by 11. What will be the remainder? What will be the remainder? Is it possible, any calculator, okay, is it possible for any calculator that should be 3 will be power 201 times 3 into 3 into 3 into 3 into 3 into 3 into like that 201 times you're going to multiply the 3. Is it possible for any calculator? So if that is not possible, how you are going to divide it with 11 and you are going to tell the remainder for it? So with some logic, you're going to perform it very easily. Okay, so not only with this, okay, these are hardest problems like 99 power 9999999. It is not any calculator. Your scientific calculator, even your scientific calculator won't be calculate the value of 99 power 99999. Okay, that should be divisible with some 23. Just a minute. That will be divisible with 23. And what will be the remainder? So it is not possible for the calculator to do this problems. Okay, I have a theorem, I have a logic, Fermat's theorem. With that theorem, it is possible to prove, okay, the remainder. We are going to get the remainder within 4 or to 5 steps for this problem. So this kind of mathematical problems we are going to deal it, and we are going to learn the logics for this. Okay, so now get into the subject. What is the discrete mathematics, and what is the syllabus of this discrete mathematics, and so on. Okay. Okay, first of all, I'm going to give you a small introduction of what is discrete maths. Till now, you have learned the mathematics, okay, from your schooling to your intermediate, and from the first year also you have learned M1, M2, and so on. Okay, till the mathematics. So discrete mathematics is little bit different from what you learned. Okay, so discrete mathematics. Just a minute. What is not? Okay, what is discrete mathematics? So I think you all understood what is a discrete mathematics structure. Okay, in discrete mathematics structure, the problems we are going to write it in a logical way, and that should be implemented in the computer applications. Okay, so all mathematical problems, we are not going to deal with all the mathematical problems, only discrete mathematical problems we are going to see. Okay, what is a discrete mathematics? Discrete mathematics is the study of discrete objects. Discrete here, discrete means a different objects. Okay, not same, not the same one. Okay, so pretty difficult to understand. So I'm going to give you a more clarity about this discrete maths. What is a discrete objects? Okay, an object is discrete if it is not continuous. Okay, object is a discrete, not if it is not a continuous. It is not a continuous, and it should be countable. Okay, so it is not continuous and it is countable. For example, examples of discrete objects: people, chairs, tables, balls. These are all not continuous, but these are countable. People are countable, chairs are countable, tables are countable, balls are countable. So this type we can going to consider as a discrete objects. The integers, 1 integer, 2 integers, 3 integers, 4 integers, 5 integers, 6 integers, and so on. Okay, so these can be countable. Okay, not continuous, countable. These are the discrete objects, and the rational numbers, finite sets. These are all comes under the discrete objects. What are the non-discrete objects? Real line. The real line, all the numbers in a real line are should be in a sequence. So it is not a discrete objects. Real planes and ratio of a circumference and the diameter of a circle, that is a pi. It is not a discrete objects. Okay, and a continuous functions. The continuous functions will not be considered as a discrete objects. Functions will be considered as a discrete objects, but continuous functions will not be considered as a discrete objects. Okay, now again I am going to give you. Okay, discrete mathematics is a branch of mathematics where we study of discrete objects. Okay, till your intermediate you have studied a few parts of discrete mathematics. Few parts of discrete mathematics like study of integers and rational numbers, arithmetic propagation and geometric propagation, permutations and combinations. So permutations and combinations are pakka discrete mathematics. Okay, so discrete mathematics is a foundation course for mathematics and your computer science. Okay, many problems you face in your life will involve in discrete objects. So real-time problems, we are going to take a real-time problems and we are going to find the solution for them with a logical thinking. With your logical thinking, you are going to get the solution for real-time problems. Okay, so the course goal, okay, discrete mathematics goal for this is, this mathematics is a very logical subject. Every statement has to be proved mathematically. We'll see how to prove and write the mathematical proofs. We're going to see how to prove and write the mathematical proofs. We'll learn a number of techniques that will help us to model problems in a mathematical way. I'm already told to you. So we are going to do the mathematical problems, but in a logical way, technical way. We are going to use some tools to solve the problems. Okay. So also learn a number of tools that can be used to attack the problems. So every problem is unique, and hence there are no fixed algorithms for solving them. There are no fixed algorithms for every problem. So different problems has a different algorithms. Okay, so that algorithms, how we are going to get the algorithms? Only based on you, your thinking, your solving ability. How you are going to get your solving ability? By practicing multiple times, multiple problems, multiple algorithms. If you're going to practice a multiple algorithms, so you're going to get the problem solving techniques, problem solving logics. Okay, we can use the different techniques, tools. We can use intelligence and creativity to solve the problems. The only way to master in this is by solving lot of different types of problems. I already told you how you're going to master in this. You're going to solve different problems. Thus we will solve a lot of problems in this course. Use the different techniques we learn. Okay, I think you got a idea about what is a discrete mathematics structure. Again, I'm going to repeat it. Okay, discrete mathematics is a foundation course for the computer science. So the mathematical problems, you're going to write it in a logical way. Okay, so by learning a different techniques, okay, you have a few problems. I'm going to tell you few problems and the solutions, theorems for them. only thing you need to do is you need to practice. Then only you're going to get the problem. I'm going to tell you very simple way to solve this problems. I'm going to, if I'm come to the syllabus, I'm going to show you what kind of a problems we are going to get here. Okay. So I'm going for the syllabus now. Okay, discrete mathematics structures. So the course code is IT 2101. This is a first subject. Okay, in the series of all your second year subjects. Okay. So internal is 30 marks and university is 70 marks totally. You're going to get 100 marks. The credits for us 3 credits. So am I audible to everyone? Am I audible? Please can you give me audible? Okay, thank you. The course objective. Coming to the course objective. The course objective is to introduce the students to the topics and techniques. Okay, every time I'm going to use the word techniques and logics. In discrete mathematics, you're going to learn techniques to solve a different kind of problems. Okay, so the student to the topic and techniques of discrete methods and combinational reasons. Okay, to introduce a wide variety of application, the algorithmic approach to solve of problem in fundamental in discrete mathematics is a fundamental in discrete mathematics. The algorithmic approach to solve to the solution of the problem is fundamental in discrete mathematics. Cheppan kadandi, as I said, okay, this is the main basic. This is the main approach you are going to do. The algorithmic approach to the solution of the problems is fundamental to the discrete mathematics. And this approach strengthens the close tie between the mathematics and the area of the computer science. Okay, this approach strengthens the close tie, okay, between the mathematics and computer applications. Okay, so let's go with the syllabus. In the syllabus, you have totally 5 units. In that, the first unit you're going to learn is mathematical logic. Okay, for your better understanding, I just divided this contents. Okay, proportional. In the mathematical logic, you have a proportional calculus and predicate calculus. Proportional calculus and predicate calculus. I'm going to give you just an introduction what is about the proportional calculus. So these proportional calculus are very simple and it will be connected to the real-time entities like. So Delhi is the capital of India. Is it true or false? Obviously true. 3 plus 2 is equal to 5. Is it true or false? True. Okay. Is the statements, okay, based on the statements, based on the number calculations, we are going to tell that whether it is a true or false. I'm going to tell you and I'm going to ask you another one, that is, how old are you? Can you define it as a true or false? Is it true or false? Can you identify it as a true or false? How old are you? How beautiful are you? X plus Y is equal to Z. Can you tell it is a true or false? No, you can't define. So you can't define these kind of statements will not considered under proportional calculus. The proportional calculus statements that have a truth value or a false value. So truth value, false value. Based on the truth value and false value, we are going to do this proportional calculus. Okay, like statements. First, we are going to statements and the notations. Okay, I am going to tell you one notation. Ram is a man. So we are going to take the statement as a P. Ram is a mortal. We are going to take as a Ram is a mortal as Q. How we are going to integrate them? P implies Q. Ram is a man and Ram is a mortal. So this is how we are going to integrate the statements. So statements, and we are going to write the statements and then notations and connectivities among the statements. So well formed formulas. Okay, based on formulas, we are going to do the truth table, that is P and Q, P or Q. Okay, disjunction, conjunction, you already know all this. You are well familiar with all this. Am I right? Okay, so tautologies, equivalence of formulas, duality laws. You're going to learn some laws here. Okay, normal forms. So I think you have a DLD subject in 1-2. There you studied the sum of products and product of sums. Have you studied? Please give me a reply. Anyone? Are you familiar with the sum of products and product of sums? Hello? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. The same thing we are going to do in the normal forms here. Okay. And theory of inference for the statement calculus. In the theory of inference for statement calculus, you're going to have a formulas. Based on formulas, based on these formulas, we are going to tell that whether a given statement, they are going to give you some statements. Okay, live statements. Okay, real-time statements. They're going to give you a real-time statements like, as I told you, Ram is a man, Ram is a mortal. The school began, it is raining. So the same, this kind of statements they're going to give. Okay, so based on the theory of inference, you're going to tell that statement is valid statement or not. That is a valid or invalid. Okay, based on this formulas. Okay, so proportional calculus. So we have a direct statements like Ram is a man, Ram is a mortal, like that. In predicate calculus, coming to the predicate calculus, so for everything, like Smith is a bachelor, Ram is a bachelor, Sham is a bachelor. For all these names, we are going to just put P of X is a bachelor. In the P of X place, you're going to put any of the names. You can put the place of a P of X, you're going to put the Ram, Sham, or any name. Okay, so in predicate calculus, we are going to choose the indirect statements. Okay, so in your main exam, you're going to get one question from proportional calculus and one question from predicate calculus. This 7 marks and 7 marks. Okay, in the in predicate calculus also you're going to learn the inference theory of predicate calculus. Here also you're going to have some formulas and you're going to tell that whether a given statement is valid or invalid. Okay, statement, one statement, you're going to get a real-time statement. With this formulas, you're going to tell whether the statement is valid or invalid. Okay, so this will we are going to see in the coming session. Okay, coming sessions. Okay, next unit, coming to the next unit. Okay, next unit you have a set theory, in a sets theory, you're going to learn sets, relations, functions, and algebraic structures. So you already well familiar with sets, relations, and functions. Am I right or wrong? Okay, set operations, that is A intersection B,
Yes,
A
sir.
union B, A union B, A union B intersection C. So these kind of operations you're going to learn in the operations on sets. You're going to learn some operations and then you're going to perform such kind of questions. Next, the principle of inclusion and exclusion. So what you're going to learn in this is, so you're going to tell that if I'm going to ask you what is A union B, can anyone tell me what is A union B? What A union B? A union B is equal to all the elements in A plus all the elements in B minus, I'm going to show you in this whiteboard. Just a minute. Okay. A union B is equal to all the elements in A plus or minus plus all the elements in B minus A intersection, just a minute. So here I don't have an intersection symbol. For that I'm going to use this. Okay, intersection B. Okay, if I'm going to ask you what will be the A union B union C, can anyone please tell me what is a union B union C?
All the elements in A and B C sets.
Okay, all the elements in A
B and C sets.
plus all the elements in B, just a minute, all the elements in B plus all the elements in C minus, yes,
Minus A intersection B.
A intersection, I'm going to use this symbol, A intersection B
Minus B intersection
minus
C. B intersection C.
B intersection C, I'm using small letters,
Minus,
okay. Minus
minus C intersection U.
C intersection A,
A.
okay, plus A intersection B
B
intersection C. Okay, you can tell for this A union B union C. If I'm going to ask you what will be the A union B union C union D, it will be little bit difficult, but you're going to tell. And if I'm going to ask you what will be the A union, I'm going to use a small letters, okay? So every time, no need, okay. A union B union C union D union and so on till union Z. Can we tell for this? Is it possible to write For
No,
this
sir.
kind, so I have a theorem. I have a theorem. With that theorem, you can tell the what will be the result of A union, B union, C union, D union, and so on. And you can implement the problems on this kind of a problems. Okay. So this is a theory of, just a minute. This is the principle of inclusion exclusion. Principle of inclusion exclusion. You're going to line this kind of a problems. Okay. So if you know the theorem, then it will be very much easy. Okay. Now coming to the relations. First, you are going to learn about the properties of relation. There are 6 properties like reflexive, irreflexive, symmetric, antisymmetric, asymmetric. So if you know this uh, properties, it will be very easy to do all this. It will be very easy to do all these operations, partitions and covering, trans to closure, equivalence relation, compatibility, and a partial ordering and hash diagrams. With these properties, if you're going to learn these properties like reflexive, irreflexive, symmetric, antisymmetric, asymmetric, and transitive. With the 6 properties, you're going to learn complete relation topics. Okay. So coming to the functions. In the functions, you're going to learn bijective, that is 1-1 and onto. 1-1 function and onto function. Okay. I think you are already well familiar with the 1-1 and onto. Compositions. Compositions are nothing but F circle, G circle, H. These are all we are going to call it as a compositions. Okay, you already for every class you are going to, for every mathematical class, the functions will be compulsory. Compositions are compulsory. Okay, inverse, permutations, recurrence functions, lattice and its properties. I'm going to tell you all this. Okay, what all this? Algebraic structures. So in algebraic structures, are very easy to learn. First, you're going to learn total 5 laws. One is associative law, commutative law, distributive law, inverse, and identity. These 5 laws, if you're going to learn these 5 laws, you're going to perform all the topics in algebraic structures. Based on these 5 laws, you're going to perform this semi-groups, monoids, groups, subgroups, abelian groups, homomorphism and isomorphism. Only thing you need to do is, first of all, you need to learn the instructions. Okay, first of all, you need to learn the properties, or you're going to learn the laws. Then you're going to implement those laws and properties in the problem. Okay. Next, combinatories. Coming to the third unit. Third unit is combinatories. Combinatories are nothing but permutations and combinations. So you have familiar with permutations and combinations. So beyond that, beyond the permutation combinations, you are going to learn permutations with repetitions, permutations with unlimited repetitions. Okay. Circular permutations, restricted permutations, combinations, restricted combinations, binomial and multinomial coefficients and theorems. Okay, so you are going to learn all this in the third unit. Okay, combinatories. So coming just a minute, coming to the second unit, you are going to get 2 questions from all this. 2 questions. First question will come from sets and relations, and second question will come from functions and algebraic structures. 7 and 7. Okay, same way the third unit, I'm divided into two parts. One is combinatories, second one is number theory. In combinatories, you're going to get a 7 marks, and number theory, you're going to get a 7 marks. One question from combinatories, one question from number theory. In combinatories, you're going to learn about the permutations and combinations, permutations with repetitions, unlimited repetitions, restricted permutations, okay, and combinations, restricted combinations, binomial theorems and multinomial theorems. Okay, okay, don't be afraid by seeing all this. It will be very easy with our techniques, okay, techniques and logics. Okay, in number theory, you're going to learn the properties of integers, division theorem. As I told you, greatest common divisor. In the starting of the class, I told you, you're going to identify the greatest common divisor among two numbers. It is possible to identify two small numbers. The greatest common divisor among two small numbers, it will be very easy. If a number is 4 or 5 digit number, it is not possible with a calculation. So for that, we will go with the Euclidean algorithm. By knowing this Euclidean algorithm, it will be very easy to identify the greatest common divisor for the largest numbers. Okay, least common multiples. Okay, least common, same way though, you are going to learn the least common multiples. Testing for prime numbers. As I told you, whether the given number is prime number or not. 113, they are going to give you the number. Is 113 is a prime number or not? With the logic, you are going to tell that 113 is a prime number. I'm going to tell you the technique. Okay, how to we are going to tell the whether the given number is a prime number or not. Okay, the fundamental theorem of arithmetic, modular arithmetics, Fermat's theorem and Euler's theorem. This Fermat's theorem and Euler's theorem, as I told you, 99 power 9999. It is very difficult for the calculator to solve that problem. 99 power 999 is divisible with 23. What will be the remainder? So even calculator also can't perform the operation. So with this Fermat theorem and Euler's theorem, I'm going to show you within a 4 or 5 steps what will be the remainder. Okay. Coming to the recurrence relation. In this recurrence relation, you're going to learn the coefficients. Okay, coefficient. For example, you're going to take a number sequence like, for example, take a 2 sequence, that is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and so on till 10,000. If I'm going to ask you, what will be the 58th number? What will be the 58th number in this sequence? Can you tell directly without writing? No, it is not possible without writing 2, 4, 6, 8, 7, and so on. You're going to write it on a paper, and then at the 58th position, you're going to tell me the number. So with this recurrence relations, we have a formulas to identify such kind of numbers. What is the 100 position number? What will be the 105th position number? You're going to tell with this logics. This kind of a logics we are going to perform. Okay. So coming to the graph theory. So in graph theory, you're going to know what is the basics about the basic concepts of graphs. Okay, and you're going to learn some isomorphic, some techniques like isomorphic graphs, paths and circuits, Eulerian Hamiltonian graphs, multigraphs, bipartite graph, planar graphs, Euler's theorem, graph coloring, covering and chromatic number. All this you're going to learn in graph representation. Okay, you're going to deal with the graph representation. So I think there will be a less time. for the tomorrow class, I'm going to again give you the brief about this graph theory, 5th unit. Okay, and spanning trees. Spanning trees. Okay, so you're going to learn the graph theory, then you're going to come to the trees. The difference between a graph and a tree is a graph that forms a cycle. So graph that form a cycle, if there will be an graph, it forms a circuit, cycle, complete cycle. Tomorrow I will going to show you. Okay, a graph that forms a cycle, a tree that does not form any cycle. Okay, so after knowing this graphs, you're going to know the trees. In that, you're going to learn the spanning trees. Okay, so the prescribed textbooks is, so discrete mathematics structures with applications to the computer science by J.P. Tremblay and Manohar. Well familiar with Tremblay Manohar. Discrete mathematics structures with applications to computer science by Tremblay Manohar. Okay, so this textbook I'm going to prefer, and remaining textbook you can take it as a reference, and you have a reference textbooks also. In the reference textbooks, the best textbook in reference is this discrete mathematics and its applications with combinatorics and graph theory. This is the fourth one. This fourth one textbook is I'm going to prefer for reference by Kenneth H. Roshan. K.H. Roshan, we can call it as that the name is Kenneth H. Roshan. Okay. The course outcome. So while learning this course, okay, tomorrow I'm going to continue all this. Okay, I'm going to tell you what is the 5th unit and all the course outcome for this courses. And any queries? Yes, any queries? Yes, anyone? Roll number 51. Roll number 51. Any queries? Any queries? No, your voice is not that much audible. And finally, I just created an account on Edmido. So you people need to join with this code. This is my subject code, that is GRTT8P. I'm going to share this PDF document in your WhatsApp groups. Okay, and I'm going to share the syllabus and the lesson plan in the Edmido. Okay, everyone join with this code. Okay, for discrete mathematics, I'm going to share. Okay, any queries? Anyone? Roll number 81. Roll number 81.
Sir,
Any queries? Have
No,
you understand what is discrete mathematics and what
Yes,
you're
sir.
going to do in the discrete mathematics? You're not audible. Okay. Anyone please? Anyone? Okay, can I end my session with this? Tomorrow I'm going to give the introduction of a graphs, trees, and I'm going to tell you the course outcomes of the discrete mathematics structures. Okay, more brief about this discrete mathematics structures, and then I'm going to start the first unit. Okay, thank you all. You can leave now.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.